Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. As you can maybe hear from my voice, I'm pretty fucking sick right now and I should be lying in my bed, but I really wanted to make another video, and also I wanted to ask you guys to send me more clips so I can just edit something, because my voice is really sore and broken right now, so I will probably have to edit a million cuffs out of here. But I still wanted to record this video because I recently found a pretty interesting build from a master player. I found him on the car stream. He was playing with him, or he was in the same team as him, and also I wanted to inform you guys about a little AP change that Shaco will receive, and I'm not quite sure about that, so let's jump in on the change right now. So they changed the backstab passive. Before it did 120 to 145% damage, and now it does 130 with a 40% AP scale. Now when I first saw this, I thought, this looks kinda nice and an okay nerf, and I can get some AP in the runes and AP Shaco will be nicer again. But then I saw the other change. The Q, the sieve, doesn't do any damage anymore. It reads no longer does 20 to 80 damage plus 40% AP scale bonus physical damage to next attack. Pinkward made a really good video talking about it and the state of Shaco. Just click on the annotation to get to that video because he described it very well. I think after this update a lot of people might just play with Gunblade and then full tank, or Gunblade and Trinity on the Bruiser build, but we'll see when that comes live. So before I saw that this wasn't really just a buff, I found the guy that I already was talking about, a master player, Shaco, and he plays a full AP build. He has two variations that he plays, and today we're gonna go over both of them because I found it very interesting and he was doing pretty damn well from what I have seen. Before we start, I have two disclaimers. First of all, I'm gonna be giving my opinion and thoughts on the build, so if you think otherwise, then give me your thoughts in the comments below without screaming like a monkey. And of course, today I'm pretty fucking sick, so if I say something wrong or my voice sounds pretty odd, then you know why that is. Also, before we start off, the Bruiser build I reviewed last time is now the most played build on OPGG, at least on EU West, so I kinda had the future in mind there. And also I want to say that I think that build is overall a more stable build and way better for carrying in my opinion, but this one's really fun, and if your playstyle is more like this, you can still get the master, as this guy shows pretty clearly. So now the first items, very standard again, Hunter's Machete and a refillable potion like everyone does. Now one thing he does differently is when he goes back, he gets a Stalker's Blade and a Dark Seal. Now Dark Seal is that item that stacks ability power per glory. Glory you get from killing people, and you also get increased healing from potions. So you get a little more healing from your potion, and of course if you kill someone you get stronger. Now to the Stalker's Blade. I'm a really big fan of the Skirmisher Saber because I just love it, because it's a mini exhaust, an aggressive mini exhaust, but here it actually feels really good because it gives you chase potential and potential to get out again, because you have to play a little poke style and you just have to play with your food in a sense with this kind of build. So I think going for that is quite okay here, and that felt pretty nicely. Now after that he instantly finishes Runic Echoes, not going for any boots or not buying Tiamid. Now that was pretty hard for me, as I've been playing with Tiamid for such a long time now, so clearing jungle camps was quite different for me there. But other than the Toucan camp, everything felt actually kinda normal. And then when you have the Ludens proc, the Toucans are alright too, but of course not close to as good as Tiamid. Now the burst, even just proccing Ludens with your E feels actually pretty nice on lane and your ganks, and also if you're level 6 with your clone, the teamfight potential actually feels kinda better than with lethality. If you have to carry most, if you just have to pick out a carry and your team knows what to do, then of course lethality is still pretty amazing, but your clone explosion and the little boxes can do a ton in a team fight. And if you set that up correctly and maybe put some boxes there as well, then it's not only gonna look a lot cooler than just one-shotting someone, it's also gonna be amazingly effective. And whenever you do that, you feel pretty good about yourself. So that's a bonus as well when playing this kind of build. Now after Runic Echoes you already get movement speed from that, so he still doesn't go for boots, he goes for a Hextech Revolver, which I can really relate to when going AP, because you get that little dot damage that is pretty nice and neat to have. Not much to say about that, just a dot damage and some AP. After that he goes for two different types of boots, either the Ionian boots of Lucidity or the Sorcerer shoes. Now 75% I've been seeing him go for the cooldown boots, which works really well with Stalker's Blade as well, because you can slow them, run around and just throw E's and put down boxes in front of them all the time. Yeah, that's something I didn't mention when talking about Stalker's Blade. When you get that speed, you can run in front of them and place a box in their way or something like that. So that's pretty great to have as well when being AP. Now Ionian boots are good if you think you can end pretty early, and sorcerers are also great in late game, but it's really dependent on how the game is, because if they have a lot of tanky healers or something, I think Ionian boots are still great. But now we gotta talk about the next two items, because then it's also dependent on what next item you build, on which shoes you will get then. So the next two items he goes for is Hextech Proto Build or Hextech Gunblade. I've been seeing him build Hextech Proto Build most of the time, but in his latest games he's been trying around a little bit with Hextech Gunblade as well. Most of the time his standard build was going for Lucidity Boots and then going for Hextech Proto Belt. With these items and also masteries and runes, you already have 35% cooldown. Obviously, if you go for sorcerers, you only have 25 at this point, but that was the most standard way he went. Now, to Hextech Proto Belt, this will of course allow you to clear more efficiently. It will give you that little boost, and of course the damage that is quite needed on AP Shaco, giving you a little more utility and other ways to do damage is pretty great and appreciated. The little health is kind of nice as well, but late game you won't feel that little health at all, and you get 60 ability power as well. Now to Hextech Gunblade, here you don't get cooldown reduction, but you get 40 attack damage and 40 ability power. Now this helps you when clearing as well, because you get some more AD and you get more ability power overall, so your boxes E and Q do some more damage, but you won't be doing damage after the update anymore. You gotta keep that in mind after that. And also you kind of get a second smite, because you have two ways of slowing the enemy down with those two Stalkers and Hextech after that. And also you of course get the healing passive. Now what I was talking about earlier, late game, if you're against like a Vladimir or something that is just gonna heal away the damage again and you can't do shit, then it's actually kind of nice to have a lot of cooldown and Hextech Gunblade, because then you can also heal yourself up, and it's actually quite ridiculous how much you heal with your smite on minions when you have Hextech Gunblade. And then also of course you heal on champions as well when you proc your E with loons and put your W down and your clone explode. There's actually quite a lot of healing going on. So if you can't burst late game, you just gotta poke and heal up again, go in, poke a little again and just heal up again, depending on how many carries there are for you to kill. If they're all tanky people and they're too well protected, I actually did sell Hextech Proto Belt for Hextech Gunblade. But of course late game you can also sell your Ionian boots for sorcerers as well, if you think you need more penetration to kill those carries. You could actually really compare this to the way Woody Fruity plays his Gragas. He kinda does that the same way with the boots. Now after deciding to go for one of these boots and one of these Hextech items, he always goes for Lichbane. Now Lichbane is kind of a must-have as well here. You get your Sheen proc, which is really nice. It's gonna be nice on your Q as well after the update, because then you actually still get some damage when using that ability. You get some more movement speed, and also you get 10 more cooldown. So if you went for Lucidity boots, you now have 45% cooldown with runes and masteries as well. So now full CDR build if you go that path, which is pretty neat. You also have to have Hextech Proto Belt, I gotta mention as well. Hextech Gunblade has no cooldown reduction, of course. When I tried out AP Shaco earlier, when AP Shaco was still like the thing to do, I really like to go Hextech, Revolver and Sheen as well, because I really like to have those both dots, and I might try that out again in some time as well. Now when finishing Lichbane, he had two more options that he went. He either bought himself a Void Staff, magic penetration, ability power, if he thinks he needs more magic penetration to kill people, or he went for Rabadon's Death Cap, which of course just gives you an insane amount of ability power, and of course that 35% increase of ability power that you already have. So that's just if you think you need more raw AP burst. Now another item that he doesn't build, or I haven't seen him build, but I would recommend, is Zhonya's Hourglass. I've tried that out in the game where I already mentioned, like I had a Vladimir and I went for Hextech Gunblade, and also Zhonya Zonias, and the utility you get from that actually felt really useful when going in and trying to do some damage and then heal up again. And when you can't heal anymore, you can Zonias and then jump out again and heal yourself somewhere else. So that actually felt really good if you needed that extra utility and to be a little more nifty and sneaky. Now that's already been the build. Pretty straightforward actually, and it was a giant amount of fun, and I would recommend everyone to try this out. Stalker's Blade and all the speed ups you get, the cooldown reduction, the way you can play VW, or just the Loons effect in general is already really fun. And of course the Hexstash items, I've missed using these as well. I just realized I actually missed an item. Another item he goes for, which is really cocky actually, is going for Mejai's Soul Stealer. He goes that after going for Lichbane. Really late game. Probably if he's really confident in himself and he has those 10 stacks on his Dark Seal, he probably goes for that, tries to stack that up. But that's really cocky, and you have to be confident in your ability to carry and win. But I mean, he's master and he does that master and is pretty successful with that, so that's something we gotta respect. Now again to the build, I think it's a really fun build that has potential if you do a lot early game and don't just hang around in your jungle and try and help lanes and snowball everything. You can still be useful mid to late game, but you shouldn't fall behind, because if you fall behind with this build, it's gonna be quite terrible. With my Bruiser build that I showed before, I think there's still a lot of potential to still carry, but with this one, it's actually pretty hard, at least for me. And it's also, of course, a completely different playstyle. But I think this is more fun than viable compared to the Bruiser build. So definitely be sure to give me your thoughts in the comments below. And again, I'm really sorry for my voice and the way I talk today, but I still wanted to get this video out. So now let's go over the masteries. Pretty standard as well here, going for Thunderlords. He does go for intelligence instead of precision, so he gets that 45% cooldown reduction if you go for Hexstash Proto Belt. And in the Ferocity tree he goes for Double-Edged Sword and Natural Talent, putting nothing in Vampirism, so just to get that little burst. Moving over to the runes are actually quite interesting. He goes for 9 flat cooldown glyphs and also 1 2.5 cooldown Gwyn. So here he gets the other 10% cooldown reduction he needs to get those 45%. For seals he goes for 6 health per level and 3 armor per level. Now I'm not quite sure if the armor per level is needed here. I think you could just go full health per level and you'd be fine. For the other Gwyns he goes for 2 ability power, which is a little strange if you're clearing the jungle, because I'm really used to having that attack speed and also more 80 damage. But after playing some games you kind of get used to that and just use your box efficient. Now for marks he went for mixed lethality and magic penetration. I'm not sure what to think about this. I would just go for magic penetration. If you want something wacky and want just mixed damage, then you can go for this. Yeah, that should work alright as well, I think, but I'm not quite sure about mixing that's gonna do that much. Still very interesting and different runes. I appreciate it a lot when people try out different stuff and don't just stick to the very norm. Now this has been it for the video. I actually didn't want to talk so much because my voice hurts really much, but it looks like I've still talked for quite a while. I hope it wasn't too painful to listen to and I wasn't talking too much bullshit. I hope it was still informational and you like the build and gonna try it, and tell me in the comments below how your results with this build were, and also your opinions of course on the AP changes, and also what you think how Shaco might get changed, nerfed in the future. If you send me plays, I will definitely edit another community montage, because you seem to like the last one a lot, which made me pretty damn happy. I hope you're having an amazing day. See ya.